genuinely starving. So I don't feel like looking at my canvas, but anyway, or making a video because I am literally making spaghetti. Anyways, what's up, Scrum 2 Monks? It's your host with the ghost, N.R Slotin, or N.R Slotin. Today we're making spaghetti. I might change the scene to actually, if I want to feel like painting, I might do something. I might go to my room and clean. But anyways, the rules are, what are the rules? No flirting, no bigotry in my comments. I'm so fucking hungry. This is my spaghetti. Anyways, I know I should have made like an announcement, but personally, I'm like on a time budget. If anyone will show up, that'd be totally tubular. I'm hungry, to say the least. I do love doing more things than just painting. Like, I'm making a video, you know? Let me just announce that I'm live. So hungry. Anyways, live. It's like, oh yeah, I make jokes about me cooking, because my cooking is like awful. I'm so bad at actually making meals. Everything has to be like prepped. I don't know if it's just a me thing, but yeah. Genuinely. Yeah, I literally think it is just in fact a me thing. I can't cook for the life of me. And like, maybe this just because I'm like the younger sibling, you know? So a lot of my meals weren't cooked. Like, I didn't have to cook them myself, you know? So I ended up like not having to, like, I'm Mexican, but I can barely make a tortilla. Like, it's bad. No one's showing up. That's okay. I wouldn't want to see someone and, like, you know, make spaghetti. It's like the most boring thing you could possibly do. Look at me. I should make myself some coffee and be like Albert Camus, you know? Hi, I'm making spaghetti. It's lunchtime, man, and I'm on a crunch. What's up? My name's N.R Slotin, also known as Solomon. Or Poet Slotin, yeah, I'm making spaghetti. Whoa! 21 people, damn! Hello, everybody. You want me to see you? Hi, you want me to make spaghetti? I might, like, switch I also have to clean my room, so I might have a live just clean my room, but currently it's lunchtime. Me, India, love you, India. Currently, I'm in the United States. Womp, womp, womp. I'm listening, laughing in rhythm. I was making such a serious video, like, earlier. I was literally just a second ago, not even earlier, just a second ago. I have a character. Hello, where are you from, America? Anyways, I have a character named Era, or King Era as I write him. He's the Babylonian god of war, death, and disease. And I use my favorite actor, Loomis, his face. Hi, Mom! I'm making spaghetti. I wonder if it's ready. That's my mother. Anyways, whatever. I was making so Era's like the god of plague and disease and whatever. Anyways, in my story, I write him like destroying Babylon. Because why not? That's like the whole plot of the story. Is so my main characters try to stop Era from like escaping the underworld and like destroying Babylon. And so, anyways, it's going to be that. What's your story? It's a Babylonian epic called the Epic of Kurash, which I'm writing. I'm also writing its prequel called the Epic of the Anaku. Which are about the Anunnaki. Everything's in Akkadian, y'all. You know, I talked about like learning Sumerian. It's still a little cold. I don't want to burn my spaghetti, but it could be hotter. Hell no. Oh, God forbid. Oh, be kind to me. I just had to test my spaghetti, man. I'm hungry. Have you ever been to Pakistan? No, I have not been to Pakistan. I would like to one day. It would be cool. Anyways, no, I'm writing a story based in Iraq. Old Iraq, so like ancient Mesopotamia. Anyways, what I said, the Epic of Kurash. But the plot of the Epic of Kurash is this poor, I call him my Iraqi construction worker as a joke. But Kurash is in the Achaemenid Empire, in BC under Darius the Great. Anyways, he's a guildmaster who works for the Temple of Marduk, and he gets killed by the demon Lilith, and essentially she brings him down to the, he dies, he goes to the underworld, and finds out that the king of the underworld, Era, wants to urbanize the underworld, because the underworld is like desolate, and there's demons and ghosts, and they are essentially homeless. And so he's like, oh, hey, Courage, be like, you know, the guy, the architect who makes me, my demon city, and so, give him a chicken shawarma before he's dying. Man, I don't have chicken shawarma. I want chicken shawarma. That's a little, lamb shawarma. I'm not eating shawarma. I'm eating spaghetti! It's the most Mexican spaghetti you could ever get. I'm Mexican, right? I keep mentioning this. But for many reasons. But anyways, we have like we don't have meatballs, we have ground beef, but we have vegetables, and normally, do you like scary? No, I don't actually. I'm an absolute scaredy cat. It is so easy to scare me. No. I'm also not really loud. My mom, who you just probably saw in the comments, she doesn't allow me to watch scary movies. Anyways, what I was saying, Karash is the architect of, turns out, the scribe is like, hey, Karash, you should write a scary, I've written so many scary stories, I used to actually be a horror writer, but I write horror time to time. It's just, hey, also as a writer, you have to do it. Anyways, I was saying, if you don't interrupt me, I'll continue to talk. So anyways, the scribe Belisari tells him, hey, this is actually a plan to have, like, a place for a demon empire, because Era wants to escape the underworld and take over, essentially, the known world, but he gets as far as Babylon. The bro blows up Iraq. And so, yeah, kinda. And so, they have to conspire to, all the characters who are, like, against Era have to conspire. So we have Alatu, who in Sumerian is Ereshkigal. We have Belisari, who in Sumerian is Geshiana. We have Karash, who's my own character. He's not a real person, but he does have Cyrus the Great's name in Akkadian. Hello, California. Anyways, so Karash has that. So I want to say Dumazi is like the least. Dumazi or Tammuz in Sumerian, everything's in Akkadian, okay? I keep saying this. I'm very consistent. I do not want to write Sumerian, but I know the Sumerian versions of everyone else's names. So anyways, Dumazi later, like, becomes a good guy, but only so late. Anyways, also Queen Alatu, Ereshkigal, they all try to stop Era differently. I am the doorman! How could I forget that? I knew I was listening. The doorman, Bitu. Anyways, Bitu, gotta love him. When I wrote him, he's based off how my brother acts. So, that was really funny. So Bitu, everyone, they all try different ways by killing demons, killing ghosts, destroying the city. Like, they do everything humanly possible to stop Era. However, Era, meanwhile, has Ishtar to help him. He has Dumazi. He has the demon Lilith, or Lilau. And so they actually succeed. And Era, Ishtar, and Iana in Sumerian, Ishtar and Lilau all escape, and they destroy Babylon. Meanwhile, Karash through Bitu, got alliance with Enlil, Ea, and Marduk. Who Marduk has been ops with Era for like thousands of years. This is also an actual thing in the literature from the Epic of Era. So Era escapes and he destroys Babylon. There's havoc. He almost kills the gods, but Marduk uses his magic finally and captures him, puts him in a cave, and Era is taken away, put on court and trial, and he sentenced to death, and he dies in the story. Lilau, meanwhile, is killed in Lebanon by the doorman who escapes the underworld, and Ishtar is sentenced to be exiled, which is a bit of a reference to how Ishtar becomes like Ishtar, I think that's her name, Phoenician goddess, and then turns to Aphrodite, turns to Venus. So that's a bit of a reference to that. And so that's the Epic of Karash. In between that, when the war is not happening, Karash is forced to marry the demon Lelau, and they have a child named Il Misharu, or servant of the god Misharu. And this is by force, it's against Karash's will. It's, I don't want to get too graphic, but he does get assaulted. Yeah. And that produces a child, and so he hates the kid, he hates Lilith. And so, but after almost wanting to, in a mental breakdown, wanting to kill his child, he realizes he'll be as cruel as his enemies, and so he devises a plan with the scribe Elitary to escape the underworld. And they use the means to, the path of Gilgamesh to find Utnapishtim. They don't find Utnapishtim, instead they find Amalea, or, oh my god, what is his name in Sumerian? Holy moly. Ushanabi. And Ushanabi, or Amalea, takes him back to Babylon. And finally, after all the villains are defeated, Karash is let out of the underworld, and he escapes and finds Ushanabi, who takes him home. And so that's the Epic of Karash. Whew, that's long-winded. Anyways, I'm making an edit for Arrow. So my spaghetti's done. Good grief. Oh my lord. That is really long-winded to explain the Epic of Karash. And it's a violent story, but it's violent to to what I can handle, you know? Like, it's violent to what I can handle. So it's like, obviously, maybe someone else might find more violent, more scary than me. You know, I mean, there's more really graphic stuff online, and I've definitely seen it and definitely heard it. So, you know, I want to make an audiobook, but I feel like since Karash gets abused, everything else is fine. I mean, Dumazi gets skinned alive, Bittu gets castrated, but there's that scene with Karash where I feel like I need a trigger warning, you know? Smile, you're on big screen, Buffalo Wild Wings. That's so funny. Anyways, so, that feels like a threat. So, I feel like just for that scene alone, I will, put a trigger warning if I ever make this on an audiobook on, YouTube. And, I try to read my script, the first draft of the Epic of Karash, and it was, I wouldn't say cringy, but, I definitely need to rewrite it. I think by the final draft, it will be done. I'm, very harsh on myself. So, I, strive for, I guess, perfection. And I just read, the Epic of Era, and I'll probably read it again. And that book is, literature perfection. The pacings are really good, the language is clear, it has a clear objective, and it has a good ending, with Era being defeated. And so the Epic of Era is very well written, and it also has a beautiful ending, when, Lit Marduk, the poet, says he lays, this before his dreams and stuff. It's a very good book. Yeah. I still want to read it. You can still get it in, paper form. It's just... Oh my god. Hot. Ooh, hold on. I'm so sorry. You guys, if you're confused, I just make myself lunch because I'm in, a time crunch. I still want to have a live. It's just, I have to work out, I have to clean my house. I don't know if I feel like cleaning. The Epic of Karash is a fun book. It's heavily inspired, by the Epic of Gilgamesh, and of course the Epic of Era. That is a little later on. Also, Ishtar's like descent, Iana's descent. A lot of other Babylon. Yeah. Also the Bible. It's yeah. They translate. There's the creation myth, at least. It's quite often translated. It's not an easy book. I read mostly all. I really only read classical literature, if I'm going to be frank. And it is a hard book. I'm so sorry. It is a hard book to read because the Bible is not an easy book to read, but you can understand it. What they do is they translate Una Least like the Hebrew Bible, and then on top of that, I think the Sumerian will catch you off guard because it will be in the middle of, and sometimes they don't even explain. In other translations, they'll explain what the word is, but there'll be like Sumerian in the middle, and then it also sounds like the Hebrew Bible, and they have the repetitive Sumerian like phrases, like they'll like a poem will be repetitive multiple times, and there's so many characters. It's not an easy book, despite being very small, being a very short epic, like only I think 11 poems long. 12? 12, yeah, it's like 12. Una Leash has definitely been more of a harder epic to read. Gilgamesh is pretty easy. Gilgamesh is so fun, you'll cry. I know what epic I'm thinking about also. Adrastus, which is Utnapishtim and Akkadian. Good lord. Such a good epic. So good. Enlil is like, the reason why I hate Enlil so much is because this man is ruled by insomnia. And I must have insomnia. Like, my sleep is so bad, but I don't want to like make a flood and kill the Igigi. So what my epic of Adrastus is, it starts with like the creation of the world, but the gods don't really want to make trenches, so they create the gods called the Igigi. The Anunnaki create the Igigi, and the Igigi don't want to work like this hard and like this unfair labor, and so they rise up against their creator Enlil. And Enlil strikes their leader, and then I don't know what happened to the rest of the Igigi. I think they got imprisoned or died or exiled, but anyways, that's what happened. And then 600 years passed, they had humans or something like that, and Adrastus is like the king, and mankind is making Enlil sleep deprived, and so he sends a disease through Nemtaru, and then he sends Adad for storms. I find nothing of this works because the god Ea keeps telling Adrastus to to please the god and flatter them and humiliate them, and so Nemtaru and Adad are like humiliated, they go away, and finally 600 years again passes and the same issue, and Enlil's like, oh hell no, and so he sends a flood, and Ea tells Adrastus or Utnapishtim. I'm really tired of calling Adrastus. I know that's the Sumerian version, but Utnapishtim, gets a message from Ea to make a big boat. He makes a big boat, gets everything that needs to be living, puts it on a boat, flood happens, they land on an island after, like a mountain island, after Utnapishtim or Adrastus sent like a sparrow and a raven. Anyways, it's finally, and he makes sacrifices, be it meat or like good smelling wood. There's two translations on that. Anyways, what is here? So Adrastus gets to sacrifice all the gods because he's like the only one there, and his wife flood down, roll up at his crib, and finally they're like, who the hell started this? And then Enlil shows up and they're like, it's all your fault. And Ururu, the creator goddess of mankind, she takes her fly necklace and it says, "Remember the day." And then with Enlil, they're like, "Oh my god, that son of a bitch is here! You started this!" And so Enlil takes Unapishtim, or in Sumerian, Arrahasis, and his wife, and at Banks give him the mystery to the gods, which it makes them and them alone immortal. And so, very beautiful, epic. However, when I am rewriting this in my epic poem called the Epic of Nannaku, why the fuck is Amalea still alive? You like have to think. I'm like, why is Amalea? Why is Ushanabi still alive? How am I going to explain that to my readers? Hi, that this guy is not supposed to. He's a man, but like he's lived for 100 years. Unless I can't do math. Unless Gilgamesh is right after this. And the thing is, I noticed there's a timeline with ancient Mesopotamian literature, like myths. So when I'm going to write this, I'm going to have Arrahasis, and then I think I wrote Adapa, and then I write, I don't want to write Dumazi. I'll write him, like, I know he's before Gilgamesh, but, damn it. So I'll write Dumazi before, which does not make any real sense, but I'll work with it. So Adapa, Anzu, there might be a theogony in between this, but Anzu, Dumazi, Gilgamesh. And finally, I will do a big hard skip because I don't feel like writing a bunch of kings, so we're going starting on Akkad, right? There's another guy who made another code system. I forgot his name. That guy, Hammurabi. All the Sikaram, Sargon the Second, if I feel like it. Also, the wife in between. I forgot the queen's name. It's such a losing move, right? And then it ends with Unashapirtar, and later the Gutians and the Epic of Era, and that's it. I might write my own, like, Lilao. I know she's not a part of the Epic of Era, but she's a part of my original story, so I have to write her. I worry my first epic poem called Epic Farage is too much like a fan fiction. That's why I gotta rewrite it, make it actually sound professional. I have such a high standard for my own writing. This is what happens when I read only classical literature. I'm so sorry if this is gross, seeing me eat. I'm just really hungry. Normally I paint. I also sing. And do other things, but I don't feel like... Okay. Alright then. Anyways, I don't feel like looking at my canvas. I don't believe because I'm going to ruin it if I look at it too long. Or like try and paint it. So I will probably paint that tonight. But right now, there's no painting. Anyways, this is my lunch. I thought something funny. So, this is the OTD, right? This is me at home. I look so much better when I go out. But anyways, this is OTD, right? So, I wear shorts. That's like a big thing that I do. So I come out in my short shorts, my baggy shirt. I'm holding a popsicle. My hair is pushed up because of my headphones. I have very long legs. I am out here. And suddenly I understand the creation of Humbaba. Honestly, I did look like Humbaba. I felt that. I'm like, Saliti, what the hell is, hold on. We're going to find these two poets. The guy who wrote the Epic of Gilgamesh and the guy who wrote the Epic of Era have very similar sounding, like, names. But anyways, I finally felt it. I'm like, yeah, Humbaba was probably based off a teenager coming out of the room. Like, looking how, like, it was a little silly. It was a little monstrous. And I'm like, yeah. Who wrote Epic of Gilgamesh? A single person. I don't care who's the man. There's a man who wrote. I know. Well, no, I don't care. Where? Oh, Leak Uni. Seen Leak Unini. Yeah, I'm very talented, man. Who wrote that big affair? I know not one person probably wrote, but we give credit to these guys, so. It's embarrassing because I'm painting the guy who wrote that big affair. Kabit Ilani Marduk. Dude, I've been pronouncing that so wrong. Yeesh. 2 lives, and I mentioned this man, and I can't get his name right. And then there's me who's proud of, like, my ability to pronounce Akkadian. And I write strictly in Akkadian. You know, Akkadian's a click language? That's new. Didn't expect that. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Like, if you can learn a script, I'm not afraid of click languages, honestly. I don't care. It's fine. I can read Latin. That's a weird talent of mine. You know why I can read Latin? And it's so funny. I didn't go to school for it. I taught myself because I didn't want to waste my mom's money. What happened was I was really obsessed with the monk Savonarola, and he wrote, right? And so I was writing a book, so I needed research on him. So I asked my mom to get me, like, for whatever holiday it would be, she would get me a Savonarola book. And the thing is, they're like $20, so I don't want to waste her money. And half of it's English, half of it's Latin. I might as well, like, read the Latin part. And I learned how to read Latin. That's literally it. That was the most, like, out of all the trouble this monk has given me researching, that was the most useful thing. Everything else was pretty useless, honestly. There's nothing really, like, learning more about politics, yeah, and religion, but I think the most important skill was just learning another language. I'm also really good at pronouncing it, too. I can also kind of read German, but not really well. The thing is, I can't speak Latin, but I can decently read it. Which is nice and all. You know, but it's kind of a useless skill. I'm not planning to be a lawyer or anything. Or do medicine, really. So, completely useless skill, but it's something that I'm like, oh yeah, I can read another language. I'm ass at it, though. I can read it. I'm not good at it, but I can read you a text in Latin. I think my favorite thing to read in Latin is the Savonarola letter to the Pope. It's where he's like explaining that he can't go to Rome because he has dysentery and fever. And it's funny looking on the page, but it's also like, there's too much information. For once, I actually feel bad for Alexander, I think, the 6th or whatever? Terrible human being, but I don't want anyone to tell me what their bowel movements are like. Just say you had a fever. I'll believe you. I've had fevers before. I've also had food poisoning, and that's just modern day dysentery. That was awful. That was the devil's work. Tallahassee. I got it. Food poisoning at Tallahassee. My God. I would think my birthplace would have better food. I know. My brother's in Tallahassee. That's where we went. Anyways, enough about me. Do I have much more to say? I feel like I have more to say about Mesopotamia, but I don't. I think I've also expounded a lot on cuneiform already. Man, this was supposed to be a short live. I was actually supposed to do a live and clean my room. I'm going to finish up my spaghetti. I think I'm going to do. But yeah, this was fun though. I like short lives. Like, it makes me feel like the makeup was worth it, you know? Generally speaking, this is drag. Generally speaking. Why would I sing? I practice all day singing. First of all, I'm eating right now. And I also feel a little subconscious, like, self-conscious, right? When I'm at my easel, painting on lives, I feel a little better at singing. I'm still learning a lot. But today in the kitchen, I don't know, I feel like, I don't know. I also don't want to bother my pet fish. He's heard me built all sorts of dramas. So we're there. Yeah. And I know I feel bad because, like, I sing for, like, human rights, and African American rights, and some days I just don't sing on live, and I feel bad over it. But today I feel self-conscious. I will sing soon. I have a stream on Friday, if God being willing it. Yeah. Inshallah, I have a live stream. This is the most unflattering live stream I've ever done. I just needed to eat food. And I'm so sorry. My friends will ask me, what are you thinking after they expounded their life story on me, and I'm like, this whole entire time I've been thinking about Iraq. And it's true, that's all I think about. It's constantly Iraq. There's nothing up here in my brain but that country, because I'm writing so much about it. And then he's like, how was your day? And I'm like, Iraqi. Like, that's like all that I think about it. 24/7, it's about Iraq. You know, so, and I'm not even Iraqi. It's profound how much I care about this country. Yeah. I'm listening to jazz music. I know this will sound absolutely like nothing, since there's no music in the background. But I'm also like, I don't want to disconnect my headphones. This is the most lazy, vulnerable live ever. But anyways, I think I'm going to go. Goodbye. See ya. Bye.